Welcome back. If you've just tuned in, we're in conversation with Anoj Singh, who's the Eskom's CFO, following the release of company financial statements yesterday. Remember, you can share your thoughts with us on Twitter, and our Twitter handle is at @MorningLiveSABC. All right, Anoj, just before the break, we talked about the results. We talked about what you're saying is we've got new assets that have come online. So let's talk about the state of the entity. You know, right at the minute, people are convinced that Eskom is not in the best of places. I think the chairman talked about the best of times and the worst of times. What is the state of this entity? If I look at this, you're the third CFO in 4 years. Johnny Dladla is the sixth person to be CEO since 2014, and the current chairperson is the third in 2 years. This is now starting to sound like Bafana Bafana. You can't have leadership changing every 5 minutes.
No, certainly I think the leadership changes have impacted the organization quite significantly over the last 5 to 7 years. I think what we've tried to do when Brian and I got there was to get into a rhythm of stability. I think we've introduced that. If you look at the turnaround strategy that was introduced in 2 years ago, I think it's starting to pay dividends. We've stabilize the generation fleet in that the new build program is coming on stream. Energy availability factor on the existing fleet is at 77%. It was as low as 69 when we had load shedding. We've have financial stability in terms of the profitability of the company, as well as the liquidity of the company has been restored. So I think on all the fronts that we had issues on the business side, I think we've certainly made great strides. But then he left.
So that added to the chaos.
I think as you said, I think one of the areas that the board has indicated that they would like to focus on is the area of governance and compliance, as I said. So I think those areas would need to be strengthened significantly. But I think on the business side, I think we've done sufficient amount of planning to be able to put the organization on a trajectory to still deliver on its commitments for the years.
What's the story with corruption? Is there corruption taking place at Eskom? Lynn Brown has just said 2 more investigations. How many investigations are there at Eskom at the moment?
Well, maybe too many, but yes, I think the investigation should be allowed to follow its course. And I think as the interim chief executive announced yesterday, is that there are investigations that are that he has currently launched into, let's call it the more contentious or more spoken about transactions within Eskom. And I think we should let
some of them under your watch. How did that happen?
Well, I think if you look at some of them, when you say under my watch, I think I inherited some of them,
but
if not a lot of them.
You see someone being killed, you don't say, I wasn't there when this murder started.
No, I agree. And I think if you look at it, I think as the acting chairman said yesterday, I think if you look at the McKinsey trillion transaction, for example, I think I inherited that. And I think when we understood that there were issues, we put it to stop.
All right. So what happened with Trillion? How did Trillion end up getting paid when you haven't contracted with them?
Well, I think on the Trillion matter, I think it's you need to understand that there was a master services agreement. That was a contract that we had entered into with McKinsey and Company. And McKinsey and Company at the time had decided that they would use Trillion as a subcontractor. And we're going through a vetting process relating to Trillion. At the same time, there was work that had commenced between regiments between McKinsey and Trillion. And the 3 processes ran concurrently.
But they're denying that. So there's different versions out there.
Well, they deny that there is a subcontract. And that is actually the fact, is there isn't a subcontract between McKinsey and Trillion. And there isn't a subcontract between Eskom and Trillion.
So how did you pay them?
But there is a main contract between Eskom and McKinsey
How do you pay Trillion?
Therefore, I'm coming to that. I'm saying there is a main contract between Eskom and McKinsey that refers to a subcontract. And that is why we required a letter from McKinsey to say that they give us approval to pay the subcontract, which was Trillion, for the work that was done at the time.
But you broke your own rules by paying Trillion because you didn't have a contract with them.
No, but hence I'm saying that the payments were made under the main contract with McKinsey. And there is allowance that's made for us to pay subcontractors directly.
All right. Okay. So you went to Dubai under the courtesy of the Guptas. What was that about?
I think certainly there is concerns associated with that, and quite rightly so. As I indicated yesterday, there is a document that I'm currently preparing that would basically reveal the nature of the trips and the reasons why.
This isn't brain surgery. You either went or you didn't. Did you go?
No, I mean, yes, I did.
Did the Guptas pay for it?
No, they didn't.
So they didn't give you any gifts whatsoever?
No.
So what document is there to write then?
To explain the nature of the trips and why I went.
Okay, so what is your relationship with the Guptas?
Well, I think it's like any other South African business person. I know them, I've been with them, I've met them, by and large, as a result of the TNA breakfasts. So, yeah.
So nothing unusual is going to come up in these emails to suggest that an impropriety or a relationship that is inappropriate existed between someone who was doing work with Transnet and then with their CFO? Because you should have distanced yourself a little bit more once they had contracts with you, right?
Well, I think certainly if you look at the Transnet environment, I don't think there was any contracts with Sahara that Transnet had entered into. On the Eskom side, maybe yes, a bit more diligence would have been required. And yeah, I don't think. I mean, the emails currently paint a relatively a picture, and I think that's the reason for the document being prepared, to give perspective in terms of what the actual reality was.
Matsela Koko, is he going to get a bonus?
Well, I think based on the financials, I think he was awarded a bonus.
But why? If you're taking him to charge him, that means he was not doing his job properly.
Well, I think at this stage the disciplinary process is being instituted, and I think again, as we would wait the outcome of that disciplinary process to understand what the implications of that is for him.
Might he have to give the bonus back if he misbehaved?
Well, I guess it's up to the chairperson of the disciplinary inquiry to decide what sanction it is, and if it is that the wrongdoing is directly implicating if that is one of the sanctions, then I guess that will be the outcome of that process.
Okay, Anoj, I wish I could talk to you for much longer, but thank you very much indeed for sharing your thoughts with us and clearing some things up for us.
Thank you.
All right, that was Anoj Singh, CFO at Eskom, explaining the drop in 83% profits.